think I'm kind of falling in love with you. It's the first time for me, you know?
How do you know it's love if you've never been in love before?
'Cause I feel it.
Where?
In my stomach. It's all warm. I always had a nut there. And now, it's gone.
Greetings, guest. Welcome to the Patriarchy, where we explore cinema classics fueled by predictive Hollywood programming and unpack how our favorite characters in cinema got egg all over their faces. I am your commentator, Dom, and tonight we're unpacking Léon, the Professional. The Professional was released in 1994 and is classified as an action thriller film. The main character, Léon, played by Jean Reno, 45 at the time, is a professional hitman, quote-unquote cleaner, and stars alongside 11-year-old Natalie Portman. Now, if you didn't know, this was Natalie's first film, and she debuted on the big screen with some pretty big acting chops and delivered an incredible performance.
What's your name?
Mathilda. What about you?
Leon.
Cute name. Leon.
So, this film follows the story of a professional hitman and his young protege as they try and avenge the death of her baby brother. If you haven't seen this film, it's definitely worth watching. This movie actually made me cry at the end. The relationship that was developed between Natalie's character, Mathilda, and the professional hitman, Léon, really tugs at your heartstrings. And it was very sad to watch this father-daughter type relationship unfold and then be taken away from us in a flash just when you think Léon's gonna make it. We don't get to see them grow like that plant. But we're here because I have some questions about some of the decisions made during the filming of this movie as the plot unfolded. To understand why I'm classifying this as a questionable casting, we need to understand who was behind this movie and how the director's own journey may have affected the choices made about the plot behind the scenes. This movie was written and directed by French producer, director, and screenwriter Luc Besson. Luc Besson also directed films such as La Femme Nikita and The Fifth Element. But let's dig into Luc's personal life for a bit, as this may help us better understand some of the decisions that he made during the making of this movie. So Luc was married a total of 4 times, and his second marriage was to a 16-year-old actress, Maïwenn Lebesco, whom he had known since she was 12. He was 29. The two shared a bond over acting, ice cream, and recess, I suppose. But they actually started dating when she was 15 years old and he was 32. Now, I know very little about French culture, but I did read that 15 was considered the age of consent. But that's still a 16-year age difference, and she is also still a child. Maïwenn became pregnant rather quickly by her 33-year-old husband, and at 16 years old, she gave birth to her first child, Shauna. Maïwenn and Luc would divorce 7 years later in 1997, right around when she was 21 or 22 years old. So tying this back to the film that we're discussing here today, Luc Besson's then adolescent wife, Maïwenn, would later claim that it was their relationship that inspired the plot of Léon the Professional. Now, why is that? Let's discuss the relationship between Léon and Mathilda. We first meet 12-year-old Mathilda in the corridor of her apartment building. She's sitting alone, smoking a cigarette, likely trying to escape the dysfunctional family unit that she's a part of. It's apparent in the film that she doesn't really like her family and that the only person that she cares about is her 4-year-old baby brother. And it turns out that she has reason for this distaste for her relatives, after we see very early in the movie that her father was a part of some shady dope dealings with the DEA, which resulted in his entire family getting assassinated. Mathilda luckily escapes this annihilation after offering to get her neighbor some milk from the store. And when she returns to the apartment and sees what's unfolded, she knocks on her neighbor's door, Léon, for help.
Please open the door.
We can see early on that 12-year-old Mathilda has an immediate attraction to Léon, and he is immediately caught off guard by it. Léon's character is an older man, presumably in his 30s. He's a bit of a thug. I mean, he is a cleaner, aka hitman, and he's unfortunately illiterate. He cannot read, and I presume that he was being taken advantage of as he doesn't even handle his own money. Mathilda, on the other hand, is very precocious and persistent and really wants to quote unquote learn how to clean, and more prominently has developed some very strong romantic and misguided feelings about her temporary caretaker, Léon.
Leon, I think I'm kind of falling in love with you. A girl's first time is very important. It determines the rest of her life sexually. I read that once in one of my sister's magazines.
Now, remember when I said that my Wen has stated that this relationship is kind of inspired by Luc Besson's relationship with adolescent her? This is what I'm talking about. Except Léon isn't a creeper and curves Mathilda at every pass this 12-year-old protege tries to make at him.
I'm gonna get some more milk.
Since Mathilda is also clearly the pursuer, it also makes me wonder, was my Wen, the clearly confused one, coming on to Luc? If so, he's still the adult in the picture. So my Wen at 17 years old actually does make a brief appearance in this film as the lover of the first man, Mr. Jones, in the film that Léon is instructed to hit.
I'll talk to you later, sweetie. Okay? Bye.
There are other ways in which the character Mathilda and Mai Wen parallel. Mai Wen reported that she was actually physically and mentally abused by both of her parents after they divorced when she was a child, and describes her mother as someone who poisoned her life. The brief relationship that we see between Mathilda and her father mirrors what Mai Wen has said about her life.
Get inside and do your homework.
I did it already.
Oh, yeah? Well, you can get inside and help your sister clean up the goddamn house. And stop smoking cigarettes!
And perhaps this broken relationship is why she developed these inappropriate feelings with a much, much older man. The difference between the art, which imitates the life in this film, is that Léon truly wants to protect Mathilda and not exploit her confused and misguided love. Natalie Portman in recent years has opened up about the sexualization of her character in this film, stating in an interview with a Hollywood Reporter that it's a movie that's still beloved, but when you watch it now, it definitely has some cringy, to say the least, aspects to it.
Your character has a kind of a strength and a stillness that kind of unsettles much older men. What's that about?
Well, we could talk about this all night, but I think it's a trope of cinema, of course.
It's cinema, not you.
Yeah, to have, a young girl, very, very young girl, disarm a much older man, be so mature and intelligent and wise beyond her years, but yet nubile. So, yeah, I mean, it's not something that's particularly something I think is a good trend, and obviously it's like screenwriters writing like some fantasy of like a young girl who's like intellectually an equal, but like,
Right.
you know,
A young girl.
a young girl.
Right.
She'd also go on to state that she was a kid working and didn't know what was going on, and she reiterates that she was a kid. And so was Mai Wen when she first met Luc. And perhaps Mr. Luc Besson knows that actually watching that story unfold would have been just too uncomfortable for most people to watch. So, what are your thoughts on The Professional and Mathilda and Léon's relationship, or Luc and Mai Wen's for that matter? Share your thoughts in the comments down below, and please like, share, and subscribe if you've enjoyed this content. Signing off now, your friend, Dom.